In the winter of 2023, I watched Steven Universe, the movie, and Future for the first time. And I loved it. This has quickly become my favorite TV show ever. There's quite a lot to talk about in this show, so join me as I go over why Steven Universe was great.
We are the Crystal Gems. We'll always save the day. Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, and Steven!
I've got quite a variety of things to talk about today. That last video took way too long to make, so I'm not going to bother with an overlong intro and just start right now. Let's begin with the Classroom Gems. 3 shorts that are just Pearl, Amethyst, and Garnet explaining things about gems to Steven in a classroom setting. No new information is given, everything they say is stuff we already know from the show, but there are some fun parts to them. Like Garnet trying to kill Amethyst for some reason.
Whoa! Not that tough!
That's all for today's lesson.
Whoa!
And while I do like the chibi art style of these shorts, what the hell is this Ruby design? That is just not Ruby. The rest of these shorts are back in the same animation style as the actual show, giving some nice cute moments from Steven's life. For some reason, despite having watched these multiple times before, I only just now realized that all but one of these are framed as videos Steven is recording for YouTube, or TuTube, whatever it's called in this world. As someone who's been making videos since 2013, oh my god, I was 9 then. I've been doing this for the majority of my life. Anyway, despite my original channel being long gone, my YouTube videos used to be either really shitty Minecraft videos, or just me doing random stuff. Kinda like what Steven is doing in these, so that makes these really relatable and enjoyable for me. Steven is basically just like how I was at his age, making fun, silly videos around the house. I love how in one of them he just doesn't care that the gems are having a monster fight in the house, and just continues on with his review of a hot dog bag. That honestly sounds like something child me would have done. Something I still do to this day though is have these crazy reactions to watching TV shows, just like Steven does watching Crying Breakfast Friends.
I think I know what this is. It's lunch! I knew it! Very confirmed!
As I'm writing this, the Doctor Who episode Deluxe came out a few days ago, and I had basically the exact same reaction. If you've seen the episode, you probably know the scene I'm talking about. Something else I still love to do is playing with my cat Rumpel, and he loves boxes. So seeing Steven get up to the same shenanigans with Lion is awesome. But none of that matters because right at the end of this short, my pretty princess husband Laramie appears. The only short not framed as a video being filmed by Steven is, well, technically it's still that, but it's a video chat, which despite being comedic is actually a little bit sad and tragic, since Lapis's trauma from the mirror comes back when she thinks Steven is trapped inside Peridot's tablet, like she was trapped in the mirror. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been listening to the Steven Universe soundtrack on YouTube Music because you would never waste your money on Spotify Premium because YouTube Music is obviously the better deal since you get YouTube Premium with it for only $3 more, and then you notice this song.
Hey there, have you heard about the infamous Gem War? Well, it all started long before I was born.
And you wonder, huh? What is this? This wasn't in the show. Well, it came from one of these shorts.
Thousands of years of fighting to protect the human race. It's been pretty tough keeping up the pace.
I think it's pretty good at showing Steven's mental state at this point in the show, which, going by the track list, would be sometime during season 4. I also love that not only are the guitar chords shown on the side, but Steven's fingers can be seen actually playing them. But my favorite short is Crystal Gems Karaoke Beats. I've talked a lot in videos about how Steven and Amethyst remind me of the relationship I have with my own siblings. And this is that, but with all the Crystal Gems plus Connie. Some of my favorite moments with my siblings and family in general are all of us singing together. Singing is just one of the greatest ways to socialize, and it's so wholesome to see Pearl just have some fun for once.
Now everyone can see me burning.
The next things I have to talk about are technically still shorts, but I think they're different enough to merit their own category. We we have two groups of PSAs, both taking on the format of behind-the-scenes looks of these characters filming PSAs. First, there's the Dove Self-Esteem project, made in collaboration with Dove, which is really funny, because before this, I thought they were just a soap brand. They're pretty simple, like they're still made for children, but the messages are important ones to teach kids, like body positivity or not letting other people's negative words affect you too much, and how people who are always getting angry at others probably have their own issues that needs to be worked out. I really love the one about social media, not only for it showing explicit confirmation of Stevonnie being both intersex and non-binary, even if that was already obvious from the show, and if you needed this short to pick that up, you may be stupid. But its message is a really good one. Typically, this kind of message would go like, social media bad for you because it makes you feel negative. And this does do that until the end.
There is some positivity on here if you know where to look. Maybe I'll use it. Carefully.
I really appreciate it showing the nuance of this topic. Yes, social media can very easily become a negative thing, but so can a lot of things really. It's all about balance. We also get a brand new song in one of these.
We're small but we're strong. We're cool but we're kind, and we deserve to shine.
But the most interesting part of these PSAs is that Opal speaks more in them than she does in the actual show.
Stay low. All you wanna do is see me turn into... I don't have it.
Why 3 eyes? Line. Why 4 arms? 4 arms for shooting arrows. Sorry. It's like amazing. We fusions may look amazing, but there's nothing more amazing. Line?
And I'm not counting the movie because she was literally just saying the exact same line over and over and over again a bunch of times. That doesn't count. Now we have the Be Anti-Racist PSAs. You probably remember these from terminally online losers complaining about the cartoon Rock saying racism bad. Now, let's get the obvious out of the way. I'm white. I don't suffer from racism, so please don't take anything I say here like I'm an expert. And if you're white, racism towards white people isn't real. Stop being a baby. I really like these. Way too much of the time when it comes to racism, kids are simply told everyone's the same, it doesn't matter what color you are. And racism ended when Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream." It's a dangerous message that doesn't help the actual issues of systemic racism. So I'm glad things like this exist to teach kids that yes, racism is very real, and people of color still face heavy discrimination, including being told or even forced to not marry a white person. It does matter what someone's skin color is. Race isn't just white and not white. Different groups of people of color experience racism in different ways, and those differences are important when it comes to fighting against racism. And that's another thing. The tagline on these isn't "don't be racist," it's "be anti-racist." Racism isn't something that can just be stopped by simply stopping it. It needs to be fought against. Racism isn't just a white person being mean to a person of color. It's rooted deep in society, a society that erases the accomplishments of people of color throughout history and gives all the credit to white people.
The light bulb could more rightfully be attributed to Lewis Latimer, the black inventor behind the filament inside the bulb.
And it's important to not just discuss those real accomplishments, but the reasons for them.
Wait, is that it? Hold on. We're not going to mention why he invented the filament? To create a better standard of living for people who had only just been freed from slavery?
Because for centuries, Western society has been built on oppression. And another message for my fellow crackers. Just because racism doesn't affect you doesn't mean you shouldn't fight against it. And if these shorts make you mad for being woke or some bullshit, nobody likes you. Go take a shower. Okay, so I was thinking I would need to look up a Flash game emulator, but turns out I don't need to, because the Cartoon Network UK website is still up and has a whole bunch of games running on it. I'm not going to really talk about these like I have with everything else. I'm just going to play some footage of me playing these games for the first time. Alright, let's do this. Alright. Okay, what do you got that. Pizza, what am I doing? Oh, oh, what did that do? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just stuffing these in. Close box. Oh, what? Oh, I see. I have to... No. Close box. No. Oh, that's your... Damn it. Close box. Yay! Oh, okay, I think that gave me, like, more points. Holy shit, he's N64 controllers. Based as hell. He had those in the show. Okay, I've had enough of this. Oh, hell yeah! Steven Universe OKKO crossover, let's go. Oh my gosh! This is actually insane! We got oh my gosh! Well, I gotta beat Paradox, obviously. Oh, what? I can choose my team. Okay, Paradox and... What? Is there no... Oh my... Oh, I don't think is Dendy not in this, because these look like Mr. Guard, Daryl, Raymond, and Boxman. Oh, damn it. I'll go with KO then. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. No, I want to I like this. This is fun. I mean, it would be fun if I could figure out these dang controls. Oh, damn it. Let's do that again. Let's I need to figure out how to properly control this. I will figure out these damn controls. Hey, I can hit it. Come on, KO, help me. I've been putting a lot of blame on myself. Maybe it's actually KO's fault. I was right there. There's like no good. The depth perception in this is shit. Hey, I actually got a point. Holy shit. Okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this. I say that. I have found a way to where I can finally win this game. I just set it up as 2 players, and then I'm just control. So now the other opponent is just staying completely still. Hell yeah! Now I can finally win. Hell yeah! I won totally. Hey, I'm Steven Universe. Want to play a game with me? Oh, it's like Tetris. Okay. What? There's an entire story mode? You can play as Yellow Diamond? Okay. I probably should have looked at that tutorial. This one's just loading gems. I mean, is it loading though? 'Cause it seems to be taking quite a while to load. I think this game's broken. Alright, let's see if I can be as much of a gamer. Okay. Hell yeah, that was really hard. Oh man, I'm a master. Alright, I've had enough of this. Oh, this one's got a whole bloody cutscene to it. That's epic. Oh my god, it's the worst character in the show. Hey yo, why did Connie, if Stevonnie's got that jacket, why does Connie still have her glasses? Who's that? That's Jenny. Why would you ever want to play as Kevin? What sane person wants to play as Kevin? Alright, let's do this. Fuck. Wow, I'm going so fast. That wasn't my fault, the camera kept going away. Why did Amethyst look weirdly tall there? This game would be improved significantly if you could play as Lars, racing across the track in the Sun Incinerator. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to emulate other delisted games like The Phantom Fable. My way of emulating Attack the Light wasn't working for that, unfortunately. But if I ever find a way, I'll probably make a new video. So instead of that, I need to rant a little bit. In the last video in this series, I spoke fairly harshly about Steven Universe Save the Light. And I tried to come across as someone who did generally really like the game, but just had a lot of really big issues with it. And afterwards, part of me was thinking maybe I was a bit too mean. So I booted it up on my PlayStation, and I went to go and try to 100% it, as well as get the Platinum Trophy on it. And as I continued to play through it, I started noticing a bunch of shit that was really pissing me off. I tried to open this gate, and then I get attacked immediately, and then I'm stuck in a battle where I can only use Steven. I picked up the schematic, and then I tried to roll out, and just get stuck for no reason. Okay, I'm in Business Forge. This is the last area I need to 100%. I still haven't unlocked the secret area, I just need to find that key. And there's one chest remaining, except there isn't. You see, when playing the main campaign of this, at the end of Bismuth Forge, some enemies will appear. Once you defeat them, a chest appears. This chest contains the key to the secret area of Bismuth Forge. But then if you leave the area, before opening the chest, it will never respawn. Meaning you have been soft-locked out of getting 100%. And the only way to now get 100% is start the game right from the beginning all over again. And this happened to me when I was at 93%. 93! Fuck this stupid piece of shit game, I hate it. For the comics, sadly they aren't in print anymore. And I didn't just want to buy them all secondhand because Jesus fucking Christ. So I just found, another way to read them. And while this will be the biggest section of the video, I don't have a lot to say about most of them individually, since they're mostly pretty short stories. The first little run of single issues that ran from 2014 to 2015 are very short, and have even tinier stories in them after the main one. I should also mention that unlike the Light trilogy, the canonicity of these are kind of up for debate. The way I see it is that they are canon unless the show contradicts them. Like, one of these stories starts because Steven and Connie want to fund the construction of a library in Beach City. But after this came out, we got the episode Buddy's Book, where we see that Beach City actually does have a library. These short issues are pretty fun. There's some nice moments with Connie and Steven. Suitcase Sam appears and actually talks. You know, that guy who was in like one season 1 episode and then never appeared again, but somehow managed to appear and save the light when even Barbara didn't? Yeah, that guy. Also, there's Lars. Then there's the second, much longer run of comics, going from 2017 to 2020. Again, I'm just gonna be skimming over a lot of these. There's a story about Stevonnie and Kiki, which is a dynamic I never realized I would love so much. Amethyst turns into Lars again, and yeah, I'm questioning myself a lot seeing this. And speaking of Lars, we actually get to see a bit more of his baking side when he makes a pumpkin donut. This story in particular is really funny because Steven thinks it's a good idea for Lapis and Peridot to bring Pumpkin to a pumpkin food contest where she gets to see her fellow pumpkins get brutalized and eaten. How cute and not traumatic. We also get some gay moments with Lapis and Peridot as they try looking after a baby bird. And while obviously me and Lars are dating now, you can't deny that back in the past, he was very clearly in love with Buck Dewey. Like, bro was down bad. Also in this issue, he meets what appears to be a corrupted emerald. Like, that does look very similar to Emerald, so that's a pretty funny coincidence. Peridot becomes an epic gamer to distract herself from Lapis breaking up with her, and even Pearl and Garnet join in on the gaming. One of my favorite issues in this batch is all about Garnet learning how to take care of Cat Steven. It's just so adorable, and sometimes Garnet is even more adorable than Cat Steven herself. Amethyst and Vidalia be gay, and Ruby and Sapphire are also super gay. But after all these single issues, Lars! Off colors, fuck yeah, bitch! I actually fucking choked on my screaming. That wasn't choke, that was coughing. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about, but I don't care, cause Lars, I love Lars. Unlike everything else, I can't just skim over these issues. I need to talk about them properly. They're set late into season 5, after the events of Letters to Lars. It begins with a dream sequence of Lars opening his bakery in Beach City, which is really cool as it shows how he wanted that for a while before actually getting it in future. And he dreams of everyone loving him, but not in some ego-fueled way, in a way that shows his desire for companionship. He cares deeply about the people in his life. The only person he doesn't love is himself. This is shown wonderfully after he wakes up from his dream, where he's super encouraging to Fluorite before leaving to be alone. He doesn't think he's a good captain for the Off-Colors, which is something I always thought he would think, even before I read this. I also love this scene for the part where Rhodonite and Padparacha comfort him. I really love that Padparacha finally gets to have dialogue that isn't just a late prediction. This story also gives her a little bit more personality. She's got a little bit of sass to her, especially in this exchange between her and Lars. Oh, and when she and Lars bingo bongoed together, I just had a giant smile on my face. We actually learn quite a bit about the Off-Colors here. The Blot sees them running from Emerald, but they can't use the Nova thrusters or else they'll be tracked by her. This leads them into a nebula after Lars decides to run and hide, since that is what he does best. The nebula causes them all to dream their fears, which gives some nice insight into them. Lars sees Aquamarine and Topaz, Padparacha sees Homeworld, Fluorite sees herself on trial in front of the Diamonds, and Rhodonite and the Rutile twins see themselves back in the kindergarten. The Rutile twins even dream of being separated. Another headcanon of mine confirmed. I really love the idea of the Rutile twins being terrified of being separated. But Lars is still the main focus. He dreams about what would have happened if he'd taken his ube roll to the potluck, imagining everyone hating it. It takes him having a conversation with Dream Sadie to finally grow and evolve. This is easily my favorite part of, honestly, any of the books. I love the way Sadie joining the Suspects and Lars joining the Off-Colors are compared, showing how they're both growing in their own ways. And I really love how Lars's passion for baking is talked about. When Lars was young, he would simply bake because it made him happy, but would eventually get too wound up in perceiving his own value as a person because of it, rather than the joy it brings to both him and the people he shares his art with, because he does see baking as a form of artistic expression. I probably explained that really bad, but whatever, I still love it. I think it's important to note that these feelings were all 100% from Lars. This isn't the real Sadie, this is all coming from deep in Lars's mind. Except Onion, that was probably the real Onion who brought Lars to Sadie somehow. I believe Onion could do that. All these dreams are being caused by the nebula, and it's sort of a shared dream, allowing them all to help bring each other back to reality. I love that Padparacha was able to see the truth of her situation because of her weird future vision. While I've talked about these issues far more than the rest of the comics, I still want to leave some aspects up for you to discover by reading them yourself, so I'll just skip to a few issues later with another story about them. That's just a really sweet story about the Off-Colors learning to just have fun. The cover of this one is just beautiful. I love these Blorbos so much. They're a family. And oh my god, I need him so bad. As for the rest of this batch of comics, there's a nice story about Petey where we see he likes to dance, and Stevonnie is super encouraging towards him and is just so awesome like they always are. In one of them, Sadie is revealed to have cat allergies, which really sucks cause if she ever wants to visit Lars, she would have to shove her face in lion's mane. Bismuth even got her own story, set during the period when the Crystal Gems left for Homeworld, but before Bismuth and co came to the rescue. And in the final issue, Stephen and Connie read more of Buddy Budwick's books, and it's kind of implied that in this universe, the sea monsters you always see on old maps are actually just corrupted gems. That's honestly a really cool bit of world building I wish was in the actual show. Next we have 2 runs of comics that were just a few issues long but told one continuous story. Steven Universe and the Crystal Gems is fine. Like, it's a perfectly good Steven Universe story about a corrupted gem who needs help, Pearl underestimating Steven and Amethyst, and yeah, I don't have much to say about it. It's pretty standard good Steven Universe story. Except I really like this funny era of Steven calling PD sour cream. And there are some cute scenes of the Crystal Gems camping. I also really love Pearl and Garnet traumatizing baby Amethyst. And then there's Steven Universe Harmony.
I don't want your garbage.
Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but this gets the prestigious title of the first official piece of Steven Universe media that I straight up do not like. I can look past things like thinking the art style doesn't really fit Steven Universe. I can ignore Connie somehow knowing that this thing is called a Harmony Core before Garnet and Pearl tell everyone that. And I don't even care that much that the characters are like really stupid. Like really f***ing stupid. Steven apparently needs to keep bubbling this Harmony Core thing, or it will keep sucking up the minds of humans nearby. And it's causing him a lot of stress. But why can't any of the other gems do it to take that stress away from him? Yeah, they can't touch it without being sucked into it, but they can bubble it, and they literally do bubble other Harmony Cores later on, so why not this one? I can forgive all that. However, the big issue comes with the resolution. As a Steven Universe story, I think this is actually pretty good. The way they get everyone trapped inside the core back out is by the people on the inside and the outside singing in harmony with each other. Pretty fitting for a show with so much singing, except this isn't a show, it's a comic, as in a medium with no audio. Do you see the problem here? This isn't a story that just has singing in it. It's a story where the climax is about the literal audio waves created through singing in harmony. It's not just about the emotions expressed through the words being sung. It's about how the literal audio waves interact with each other. This just goes to show that certain stories just don't work in certain mediums. I can't really get invested in this because I can't hear the singing. I just see the words that are being sung. And that's not to say that characters in audioless mediums like books can't ever sing, but when your story is literally Steven Universe Harmony and I can't hear the titular harmonies that are vital to the plot, it kind of ruins the experience. If this was a story in the show, there would have been a moment you would be able to pinpoint exactly where the characters' voices harmonized. And it probably would have been one of my favorite Steven Universe stories. And that's honestly the worst part. This had the potential to be great, but it was stuck in a medium it just doesn't work in. But Laz appears at the end of it, so 10 out of 10. Now let's talk about a few comics that released as just single books. Anti-Gravity focuses a lot on Ronaldo, so I don't want to talk about it. Also, I forgot most of it like a day after reading it. Camp Pining Play, however, is peak. This story is about Lapis and Peridot putting on a play based on their favorite Camp Pining Hearts fanfic. A fanfic written by Laz! F*** yeah! Laz writes Camp Pining Hearts yaoi. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. But the focus is still on Lapidot. They are very gay in this. But what I love most is them exploring Lapis's trauma from Malachite, and how fusion still makes her deeply uncomfortable. Even doing a pretend fusion with Steven for the play is too much for her. I love the relationship between Lapis and Peridot, and how much they care for each other. Lapis wanting to be able to perform the scene because of what it means to Peridot, and Peridot doing everything to make sure she's okay with it. We did see some of this, but it was more so related to Lapis's trauma, specifically towards being captured by Jasper, rather than fusing with her.
Oh, hey, you guys want to be prisoners too?
Not really.
So seeing this aspect of Lapis and Peridot being explored more explicitly is incredible. I also really like this part where Peridot loves to hear Lapis's impression of Percy from Camp Pining Hearts. I agree, Peridot. Audible dialogue is great, especially when it's audible singing being sung in a very specific way that sparkles the plot and is where the title of the story comes from. Now, for Crystal Clean, it was very fun. Though the cover is kind of misleading, it makes it seem like the corrupted Nephirites would be involved, but no. Weird green gunk appears all over the beach, and Kofi and Yellowtail are just really mean to the Crystal Gems about it. Like, come on guys, calm the fuck down. The green stuff takes a bunch of forms, including Steven, but there's no gem in sight. And it seems to be something like how Lapis can create water clones of people. And since this is set in that period of Lapis being on the moon, Peridot is very gay about the whole thing. Peridot is probably my favorite part of the book. She's just so very Peridot. Gremlin silly gay creature. Turns out the gem was a lapis lazuli, just a different lapis lazuli, a former crystal gem. And her being a crystal gem is treated like some big dramatic reveal when like, yeah, no shit, she was a crystal gem. Basically all of the homeworld gems left before the diamonds attack. Yeah, some like the Nephirites were left behind, but this is just a weird thing to be surprised about. There's also some other things I don't really get. Like Steven discovers that this creature is hurt by water, so there's this random plot detour so Paradox can get this special gem to create a Super Mario Sunshine reference. Even though they could have just used Greg's pressure hose and it would have been fine. Apparently they need something more mobile, but the only time they really need it, they're just staying in one location. And while getting that gem, they get attacked by a bunch of crows for no reason. Like that crow bit literally adds nothing to the plot. And Garnet is asking questions? What? She doesn't do that. Like it's an intentional part of her character that she doesn't ask questions. I mean, this isn't too bad. It's nowhere near the level of that god-awful Multiverses comic. Dear lord, that just straight up wasn't Garnet. What the fuck is a crystalline warrior? I know I've been complaining a bunch, but please understand that I really like this story. I just have a few nitpicks. I do really like the ending. Suglite comes out and brings up a really cool concept. The ruby and sapphire or garnet parts of her are able to realize the gem was one of the crystal gems, but the amethyst part of her obviously didn't, being much younger and not knowing any of the crystal gems prior to her emerging. So we get this sort of split reaction from Suglite. I also really like the answer to what all this green stuff is. It's that bullshit avocado drink Marty sponsored. And I guess this lapis can control it because it contains water. All of this only happened because Bill let Marty dump a cheap silo of that shit in his yard so he can make some money. I hate Marty, so I greatly appreciate this book for giving me another reason to hate his guts. Too Cool for School has Steven actually going to school and answers the age-old question, why doesn't Steven go to a human school? The reason is that 1. The crystal gems homeschool him very well, and when he does a test, he's doing better than the rest of the kids. And 2, on his second day, he causes the whole place to be destroyed. His gemminess brings danger everywhere, so it's probably for the best that Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and Greg handle his education. Especially since he lives in the US, so he doesn't have to go to one of those bullshit US schools. Sorry, I got a rant for a bit. Most of my viewers are from the US, and I feel so sorry for all of you for so many reasons. Like, your schools are absurdly stupid. Like, please tell me not all of your schools are just single large buildings. That sounds like actual hell. Just being trapped and not going outside unless you're going to a rooftop or some shit. Also, why the hell does your school year not match up with the actual Gregorian calendar? Why is school starting in September? Don't give me that bullshit about having a summer vacation. That makes no sense. In fact, it makes more sense to make your big break during the winter because of all that bloody snow. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, don't send Steven to school. Also, for some reason this book ends on a completely different story, where Steven uses all his money to buy the crystal gems things at a garage sale, and to make it up for him not being able to buy anything himself, they end up cursing him with the responsibility of babysitting Onion so he can get a video game console that has a more f***ed up controller than the Nintendo 64. Also, Lars was in this book, so yes! I want to explode him. And then, the first thing shown in the Ultimate Down is the back of his head. I love this man so goddamn much, even if this little opening is kind of pointless. Like, it seems to be one of those weird dreams Steven gets, but you could just remove it from the plot and it would stay exactly the same. Yeah, Lars isn't really a part of the story, but he does play a pretty notable role. The story is mainly about Sadie, and it's very relatable to me, because it's all about Sadie missing Lars. It was probably my second favorite story in these comics after that Off Colors one. You have Sadie coming back to the Big Donut after quitting to help them out with a donut competition. And the crystal gems come to help out as well. There's a lot of fun moments throughout. We get some really nice Sadie Fist crumbs. I wish there were more, but I'll take what I can get. The crystal gems making donuts is fun. Sardonyx even appears for a bit. But the best part of the book is this dream that Sadie has that I swear I've also had before. Sadie is much stronger than me, because if a bunch of Larses were fighting over me, I'd probably faint. This is my favorite image of all time. I also need to rant about America again, because this book reminded me that price tags in the US don't include taxes. What is wrong with that country? How do you live like this? Okay, I'm currently editing and I just realized that I literally spent almost all that time just talking about how much I love Lars. I'm really fucking weird. The final group of comics I have to talk about are books with multiple stories in them, all sharing a common theme. The 2016 special, wow, creative title, has a bunch of stories surrounding donuts, meaning we get a bunch of stuff with Sadie and the man I love so goddamn much. I don't think any of you understand how much I adore him. Fuck off, Amethyst, stop bullying him. Not much to say here since they're all very simple stories, but I do need to mention the first story where Steven and Amethyst compete in a donut eating competition, and okay, I know these comics weren't trying to be consistent with the show's canon, but how the fuck do you straight up forget Steven's gem? Gemless Steven is disturbingly cursed. Fusion Frenzy is naturally filled with stories about fusion. It begins with the Beach City Pride Parade, there to show the celebration of love fusions like Garnet and Stavoni represent. All the love I have for Lars, who appears in one panel here. Holy shit, I love Lars! We get a little Garnet backstory about how she wasn't always a great fighter, and holy shit, this HUD is gorgeous. One story is just Vidalia constantly being an ass to Smoky Quartz by calling them Amethyst over and over, despite being told multiple times how they very much aren't Amethyst. Like, what the f***, Vidalia? And my favorite here is about Sugalite. I love it for how it delves into how fusion feels, and the differences in perspective that Garnet and Amethyst have towards being Sugalite. The Greg Universe special is just kind of whatever. I don't have much to say about it. Greg has an NES. That's cool. And do I need to say it at this point? Keep Beach City Weird isn't actually a comic. Instead, it's presented as a book by Ronaldo documenting the weirdness around Beach City, even if he has no clue what he's talking about. Despite being a Ronaldo book, I found it quite interesting. We learn a bit about Ronaldo. Like, despite being a crazy conspiracy theorist, he at least isn't a climate change denier. And even with his experience in the world of weird, he has no way of explaining Onion. And yeah, I don't think anyone is ever going to explain that thing. Seriously, what the f*** is Onion? And then there's some really interesting mysteries, like the rose quartz version of Obsidian, because outside of the temple statue of her, this book is the closest we've ever gotten to seeing the fusion of rose quartz, pearl, ruby, sapphire, and amethyst. Yeah, it's just Ronaldo's interpretation, but it's something at least. I'm also pretty sure this is the only time in the franchise where the United States of America are explicitly mentioned. Yes, the show obviously takes place there, but I'm pretty sure the only countries in the show to actually be verbally named are Australia and South Korea, if you want to count them simply just saying Korea. This doesn't really mean much, but I just wanted to bring up how Steven has said Australia in the show.
The koala, a marsupial from the forests of Australia.
Yeah, Aussie, 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 oi, 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 Lamingtons! I love Lamingtons! Vegemite! Tessa murder drones. I like Glitch Productions. They're from Australia. That's nice. Holy shit, Lars mentioned f*** yeah, I love him so much, I'm gonna kiss him, hey, what the f***? Ronaldo just puts that old picture of Lars in this book that he intends to publish. The photo that Lars felt incredibly insecure about and had every right to not want it published. And Ronaldo just completely disregards Lars's wishes again. He went through the effort of picking up the torn up photo to put it back to recreate it just so he could publish that. You know what? I take back everything nice I've ever said about Ronaldo. I take back all the times I've defended him, saying he wasn't as annoying as people said. This is too far. Nobody messes with my Lars. You can't just bring something up from his past he feels deeply insecure about and just put it out for the whole world to see without his consent. I hate Ronaldo. I want to punch him right in the jaw. Do I want him to make up to Lars?
No, I want to kill him! I want him to suffer and then to die in darkness.
Okay, real talk for a second. Watch Transformers 1. I really only put this joke in here so I had an excuse to play Transformers 1, and therefore had an excuse to tell all of you to go watch Transformers 1, because it's a really good movie, and it's really good, and it's like actually kind of peak fiction. Please watch Transformers 1, I'm begging you. To end this segment, I want to mention an official Steven Universe book that I actually do have a physical copy of. The Tale of Steven. It's a very simple children's picture book that gives an incredibly basic summary of the story of the show, from the perspective of White Diamond, Rose, and Steven. But what I find interesting about it is that these different perspectives are shown by physically holding the book differently and looking at the same story at a different angle. Yeah, it's nothing mind-blowing, but at least it's a cool way to use the medium of books, so it's better than Steven Universe Harmony. The final subject of today, the Steven Universe pilot, also known as the Time Thing. Now, I'm fairly certain this isn't what was actually shown to Cartoon Network before the show was greenlit. It's like a finished version of whatever was shown to them. Mainly because the whole cast is here. Even Kate Masucci and Matthew Moy as Sadie and the Pretty Princess. For the most part, the pilot feels a lot like a show, but there are many differences, most notably the art style. I've heard people say they prefer this art style to the one in the actual show, but I strongly disagree. I don't dislike this style, but the more round and colourful look fits the tone of the show way better. Something else that is noticeably different is the performances. Even though it's the same cast, it's clear the voice actors haven't fully settled into their roles yet. Zach Callison especially sounds pretty different.
Garnet, tell Pearl to let me see the thing.
But it's not all differences. Some parts outside of the very obvious basics would be brought back, like the titular Time Thing coming back in the episode Steven and the Stevens, Pearl's appearance here being referenced in the movie, Steven's epic comeback.
Why are you such a butt face?
I can't help it. What's your excuse?
You're just acting like a child. I am a child. What's your excuse?
And of course, the theme song. And this specific version would be used in the extended version of the theme song later on.
We are the crystal gems. We'll always save the day. And if you think we can't, we'll always find a way.
Overall, this is our... Wait a second, rewind a sec.
Why are you such a butt face?
What the fuck, Garnet? Take your own advice.
Don't make fun of Steven.
Oh, one last thing. Why is there no version of this online that's in good quality? The footage I'm using is from the Complete Collection DVD. And this is the best quality I could find online. So, it's done. 5 seasons, 1 movie, 1 bonus season, 3 video games, a whole bunch of shorts, web games, and comics. Surely I'm done now. Well, you see, this video is part 9. And I really don't want to end it at 9 because that will bug me forever. So the 10th and final part will be ranking all of the episodes, seasons, and songs from the show. I'm gonna rewatch everything for that, and that will be up on the 26th of July, aka the 2-year anniversary of me watching Gemglow and falling into madness. With all that said, my name's Dr. Lamington. Like and subscribe to make me smile, and I will see you later.